Thank you for sharing your evening with me. I am JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group. And you know what? It is the home of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad. Y'all, you're in the right place if you want to grow. I am excited about tonight's topic. It's about culturally conscious investing. And if you look up culturallyconsciousinvesting.com, you will find me because that's what we do at AfroEconomics. That is the goal. That is the purpose. Before it became a headline, this is what we've been doing. So I want to talk tonight about the difference between what you see a lot of talk about, socially conscious or socially responsible investing versus what we do and we try to do. And it is not easy, y'all, because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that as investors, it's hard for us to know. Even when I'm the one that's trying to check out the company to see what their value system is and what they would do and what they won't do, to my client. But there's things that are just going on. So I just said that we have to have I have to share this with you. I have to make you think about what our criteria needs to be when we say something is culturally conscious and the difference between just socially conscious, because we're kind of letting people drop the ball. We're letting corporations drop the ball on us, drop more than the ball, just drop, just everything just falls on us. So we have to be, financially responsible about where our money is going. As an example, and some of you, I may have told you about this. When I started at University of Virginia, there was still apartheid in South Africa. I mean, Black people had no rights in South Africa. I mean, it's hard to imagine, I'm grown, but I ain't that old. That this is how short a time it has been for them. And then, we shouldn't be shocked of what we're going through. What amazes me is that 2 months ago, when I was trying to explain to people the importance of Afroeconomics and why the wealth gap is not fair and the history of what we've been through and why we deserve to have reparations and why a living wage is important, nobody would listen. But now it seems like everybody on the news all of a sudden has become an expert in what systematic racism is, but they're not doing anything to make it better. So we're going to continue on our pursuit of the 10 principles of Afroeconomics, and we're not going to let the nonsense that's not doing anything to make things better for us. We're going to continue to focus. I got some stuff that we need to be thinking about. So socially responsible investing, back to UVA. So what we did was we had our Black Student Alliance, and that was before we had the Office of Multicultural Affairs and things like that. Black has been smeared out. Now, maybe this is our only chance of actually being acknowledged as a minority again, because there has been a huge movement of anything that can be done in order to make sure that you don't acknowledge the fact that those people are Black and they actually built this country. It wants to be, so we've just been pushed to the side. So back when we were Black before, and I was at University of Virginia, we would actually sleep outside and made our own shanty town. And we said, we're going to do this shanty town until the president of the college speaks with us. So then, of course, he decides which among the Blacks, like they're doing now, that they're going to talk to. It wasn't me. So, I'm just a worker, always been just a worker. So they pull in the important Blacks, and then they decide that the University of Virginia, because of what we did, actually divested, took their money out of any company, any corporation that was actually investing in a South African company or doing business in South Africa in order to make sure that they felt that we're putting, they have all of these millions of dollars from just donations and pension fund and all of this money. And some of it was going to companies that we had to actually point out that you have this company in the pension fund and they are invested in South Africa, and you got to take your money out of that company. So don't think that because Nelson Mandela got out of prison, that's why all of a sudden, they apartheid ended and they wanted to give blacks rights. No, it's because America and Americans started making aggressive moves about it wasn't socially responsible to support companies that were doing business in that society. And people always love an opportunity to be able to point the finger and say, look, we're not like them. They're crazy. So it gave America also an opportunity to point the finger that they've lost their mind treating black people like that. How dare they? So that, and then because of that pressure, they said, we've got to change this. We've got to ease this up. Let's let him out of prison. It's economics. It's really frightening how many things are economic. And I want to show you tonight about the economic connection to police brutality. And your mind's going to be blown. Your mind's going to be blown away. But I'm telling you that corporations are benefiting from police brutality. And I want somebody that's watching, I just want to see if you can tell me how corporate America is actually benefiting from police brutality. So socially responsible investing just says that just due to how the company is managed and the nature of the business that they do, that they can be deemed by a person in a position to choose them as a company to invest in. So it'll be investment advisor, might be a mutual fund manager, might be someone putting together an ETF, but someone like me who decides that this company is socially responsible. But socially responsible has moved more towards climate change. Companies that don't do like DuPont does and try to kill people and not take, well, DuPont did. I hope they're not doing it now. But if you've seen that, watch that movie Dark Water, it is off the chain. I mean, that you're talking about hurting people and then saying, I don't want to pay for it. And a client told me about it about a year ago. She works there and she was so mad. She was like, I can't believe it. I'm ashamed of the company. And I refused to watch it until the other day. I just needed to do a lot of cardio. And I was like, I'm going to turn on this movie. And it's frightening. But that company would not be deemed socially responsible because of the damage that they're doing to the environment. So that's kind of where social consciousness has come. It's into like, are you like a coal company, would be seen as they're putting too many toxins or things into the environment, and there are people that really, 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 really get into that. But you got to kind of really start. And I guess if I looked at it long enough, I guess they would tell me how it is hurting me as a person. Because they could say that because of this that they're doing to the environment, they're doing the same thing by putting it into the air and it's killing us, and this. So they really think that is having a negative impact on the environment. Then a socially responsible portfolio limitation is not going to put that in there. They're only going to focus on companies that have a positive impact on the environment. And it could be like a women's socially responsible fund where they focus on companies that have had no complaints of discrimination or sexual harassment and things that, about women. But I say that AfroEconomics can take this a step farther and say that our AfroEconomics culturally conscious investing strategy is to have two inherent goals. We got stuff we got to do too. We want to make money, but we want to invest in companies that are advancing the Black community. So let's go back. So that's the difference between culturally conscious versus the social consciousness or social responsibility. It can change where our cultural, like the principles of AfroEconomics, our cultural responsibilities, our cultural commitment cannot change. We have to be based on principles. That these are the key value system. Our cultural commitment would include that we as a people value a relationship with God, especially from an AfroEconomics perspective, being that God is the fifth principle of AfroEconomics. It is going to include that. And if this company is doing something that we deem, is out of order of the priorities of God, we're not going to deal with them. They're killing people, or they're killing the environment, or they're, going down and, doing samples on, living beings. God said that everything here is precious. We shouldn't be doing all this testing on stuff. We shouldn't be, doing these things that we do, or testing on humans and then not telling the truth about it. The corporation should not be a lying corporation. They should be a company that tells the truth, does the valid statements, put out the exact right financial information, and is not trying to lead people. So I asked the question, right, Ms. Reagan? I asked that question: how does corporate America benefit from police brutality? And you said the prison industrial complex is a big moneymaker. Now that's kind of connected to my question, but you just had something to say. Yes, it is. There is money being made in a direct result of Black men being locked up. Yes, it is. That's from Ms. Reagan, and she is right. And the over-criminalization and the extreme use, and that is one of the criteria as well that you will see. And then Angela said it starts by charging and locking up Black youth. And so you're talking about how they start making money. And that is what starts the process of school to prison pipeline. Yeah, but y'all are missing the big one. It's something else. So hold it up. You're going to be falling out of your seat. We're talking about corporate America benefiting from police brutality directly. So these are some of the criteria for our AfroEconomics culturally conscious investments. We don't want to invest in companies that use inmates in these prisons that have over-criminalized us, women and men. You got all these millions of people in prison, and the corporations have gotten smart, because most of the corporations that we have on file that have used these prisons now use contractors. But see, we're still catching you. See, now they don't want to put Target on the name. Now they use a contractor so that their contractor can be on the prison inmate contractor list, that they're using the contractors to make the products, but they don't have to have the big publicly traded corporation on there. So we have to look deeper on what publicly traded businesses use that contractor that has a contract to use prison labor. And they could even, you got businesses with subsidiaries. So they can set up another business name, and they go and they use that prison labor. Now we're talking about, this is a trip. I was looking at this, and then this is I'm gonna share this screen with you, because sometimes people watch this and they think we're making it up. Here we go. Here's an article from May 2018. There's also some, but on taking freedom, modern day slavery in America's prison workforce. Now, look, roughly half of all imprisoned American citizens work full-time jobs while serving time. full-time jobs. But this is the kicker. Look at what they get paid. In federal prisons, they get paid 31 cents an hour. In state prisons, 20 cents per hour. 20 cents. And the prisoners they do not have to pay the labor in the prisons minimum wage. And they don't get sick leave and don't get overtime. They don't have to pay them minimum wage. And then the prisoners are under OSHA, but you have to tell the prison when you are coming in to inspect their working facilities. And that's how the people that were using the prisons through this COVID, those contractors and those businesses were able to continue to operate because they were working out of the prison. And there are articles on that as well about prisons operating their businesses through COVID. And then, so look, U.S. has the highest incarceration rate in the world. In the world. I'm so glad the other night that they were able to get that brother running away, get that lady's husband and those 4 kids' father running away from the police officer. I'm just so glad that they had that camera up there running away. So it doesn't, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't even matter that those people got arrested. It doesn't even matter. So look at this. So, they're getting the little bit of pay. So we're not investing. Our AfroEconomics, culturally conscious investments are not investing. Exactly. I'm coming back at you, Ms. Sumter. Ms. Sumter said the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but abolished and reinstituted slavery in the same sentence. Exactly. So true. Where they said you're not going to have slaves unless we put them in prison. So they went around just picking them up. I know. I saw Leslie said, have you seen the Shawshank Redemption? Saw it. Wow. And they were contracting the labor out with that, and getting, what? I didn't get that part though, because I was young and I wasn't looking at it, from the perspective that I look at it now. And I'll have to go back. We should go back and look at that and see the lesson and what it was saying about that system, even then, knowing how to make money, off of that labor. That is, what did I say at the beginning of tonight? I said, what we have to do is follow the money. Follow the money. Have you noticed, when somebody gets killed, and you can expect, probably within 3 days, all of a sudden their family starts saying, calm down. Y'all stop being upset. Please calm down. How many calls do you think they got from the city or the state saying, if you would come out and say something, I will make sure that you get at least, say it's $2 million. Like I was reading about Fred Hampton, and he was one of the leaders of the Black Panther Party. And he and his wife were laying in bed, 21 years old. He was laying in bed. His friends were out in the front room. She was big and pregnant in the bed. Busted in the door. Boom. Police busted in the door. No knock warrant. They probably didn't even have a warrant. Busted in the door, killed the man coming in the door, came on through, pulled up Fred by his afro, shot him 2 times in the head. She watched it. She saw it. She had to see it, and they walked back out. That was the law enforcement officers. So on the news story, because you're going to hear this over and over because there's a story about him coming out. And the guy from the FBI, the black man that they had planted into the organization, told them about the layout. They were paying him to tell them about how the apartment was laid out, where they got to go, when they come in, where to get in first, this and that, blah, blah, blah. He is, his story is just as much the sellout story as it is that Fred Hampton story. Because it's because I really believe, and they didn't, of course, tell you when they were doing a bio, or it was an anniversary of it, and they were showing how his son is active in the movement, and that, that his son looks a lot like him, and, just doing these like catch up years later and stuff like that. But they on the news, they said, we must add, you really didn't have to add this, but they said this, we must add that his family was paid $1.8 million was paid to the family. So they just feel like they can just pay this money. But look, y'all, yeah, Mickey said they planted spies in the Black Panthers. Exactly. See, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is what's blowing my mind. When I tell you that corporate America gets money for police brutality, I still want y'all to think on that, because I ain't making this up. Corporate America makes money off police brutality. So I'm going to go back to my criteria. Now, we want to enforce that if they have these things, you find this corporation that is doing business with the prisons, and they have these inmates that are making the money, the least that we can do as AfroEconomics, culturally conscious people, that we tell them, you must pay the inmates the prevailing wage that you should be paying them for that particular job, as if it were out here in the market. Because if they have, and most of them do, have money that they owe to their victims, then that money is to pay for the victims. And then I get it, that then maybe they only get 21 cents left over. I get it. But the fact that you are only paying someone who, in many cases, has a victim that they need to pay back, restitution was part of what they're in there for. That's the least you could do, is make sure that they're being paid properly, so that corporations are not taking work from people that are out here looking for work, would not have to commit a crime to have work. If the work was out there, well, you have like 800,000 people, almost a million. This is 800,000, so this is like 2 years old. So there might be 1 million people working in the prison system. Do you know how many jobs that would bring to the workplace? And then so that they could, at least we should allow if you're going to do your business in there, it should not be about you trying to make sure that you are increasing your profits. You are making money off the crime. Let's just say, and then not even to mention that maybe the person is actually innocent, but let's just assume they're not innocent, that they're in there because they need to be. You have no right to make money off them being in there when the victim is making no money. And at the same time, even if they don't have a victim that they owe, if they're just being in there 2 years because they were sitting in a Wendy's drive-through and they fell asleep, and instead of the cop shooting them in the back and killing them, the cop said, we're going to put you away for 2 years so that you can do rehab and maybe recover from this alcoholism, since I just found out that you're drunk. But instead, they decide that you're going to shoot you and kill you. But let's just say he's in there. Well, how about you let him work for 2 years, make the appropriate wage, save the money out, so when he comes out, he has these 4 kids and he has money saved for them, or the money can go to the 4 kids while he's in there. Many of these people that are working. So you got 1 million people almost working in the prison system. Many of them have children who are not getting anything but maybe public support. They're not getting anything, and they're in the system working and making sure that your child eats. Your stock price gets to go up. You get to make money. We got to stop it, y'all. We have to be culturally conscious. And then the point of police brutality. Police brutality is paying corporations because when the municipality tells the family, we are going to pay you $4 million or $6 million or $1 million for killing your family member. Why is it so easy for them to do that? Why is it so easy for that municipality to say that? Because money, that money is paid by taxpayers. And the corporations come in and invest in the municipality when they issue the bond. So what will happen is they have $6 million. Say they have $6 million that they got to pay out for Mr. Floyd. I'm just saying that hypothetically. So then $6 million, do you know how many corporations are sitting over there waiting for that city to issue that $6 million bond? Because basically the money sitting in the bank is making nothing. So now all of a sudden they get, because they're an institution, they can come up with the whole $6 million. $6 million, and then that municipality has to pay them that interest back. But you know what? That city doesn't pay a bit back. Not one DAMN cent. All of that money will be paid back by the taxpayers of that municipality. So when all these people going around and say Richmond, Virginia, who are doing all this excessive force, the police are doing excessive force, the chief of police just resigned, all these people are going to eventually sue the city of Richmond. City of Richmond is going to pay them, and they are going to get the money to pay them from issuing a bond. The banks, institutions, pension funds, all these people are with the money looking for somewhere to invest their money because they know that you got to pay your taxes. They know. I mean, municipal bonds are looked on as something that you know you're going to get back. Now, there are counties that do go under, some, but most of the municipal bonds come with an insurance on it. So then you're paying the fee for the insurance, comes out in the rate, but that wholesaler, that first time, that major corporation, you have municipal bonds that they have connected to major banks. Major banks, look, that have been used. They have bought those bonds up after those people have been wrongly convicted and they had to pay back those great big settlements. Oh my goodness. I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show y'all this. Isn't it something? Yes. You didn't think the corporations were buying the bonds. Exactly. And by the time the individual gets in it, you're buying it from the corporation that bought them up. So then they make money again. Yup. And they might sell it to you and make a capital gain on it. They is like making money over money because they have already reassured and came up with the lump sum. And then they can sell it in $1,000 increments, or they can put it in a little municipal bond fund. They gonna make that money. They gonna make that money, and we're walking around saying, "Ain't that nice? The city paid them." And then the beneficiaries come out and go, "Can't y'all just calm down?" Because they just all got all up in their head. No, I can't calm down. Because we got to pay the money back that they just paid you, that they shouldn't have killed him anyway. Sick. He shouldn't be dead. That's the point. And look, because of immunity, the officers never have to pay a dime. They don't have to pay nothing. So they go, so if it's like a regular person, inmate, they go in, even if this officer, they get convicted for murder, they don't have to pay the county back that restitution because they have that immunity or something that we're trying to get rid of from allowing the police officer to have the immunity. Because and then they're saying, no, we can't get rid of that, can't get rid of their immunity. Why not? Why not? Because you'd have to get insurance like the rest of us. A doctor do something wrong, they got to have malpractice insurance. I do something wrong, I got to have errors and omissions insurance. You, everybody, what? Y'all don't want to, you don't want to have to pay for your office. You don't see, because there'll be an insurance company that'll cover them, and you got to pay. But right now, we're the insurance. The taxpayers are the insurance, because they know that there's investors like those major corporations who know how to buy it up, break it down, bring it down to the little man, and the next thing we buying a bond for them killing somebody, and we don't even know. That's why we gotta look deeper, because all they might put on the little paperwork that we see is general purpose bond, general use bond, and it's crap. Like, and we don't even, realize that it was not. That's just what they are allowed to say, because we didn't look at the whole details. We didn't see the whole proposal. You didn't give us the whole information. We just got what you wanted me to see. And then a lot of the corporations, they don't even look at it. So if we go to them and we go, look, you buying these municipal bonds, you better be careful what that bond is used to pay for. I want to know exactly what it's used to pay for. Is it school? Then let me see where it says it's going to pay for the school. What's it going to pay for? But if it's to, repay for something that they did, no. So look at this article. Police brutality bonds. How Wall Street profits from police violence, by the Action Center on Race and the Economy. The Action Center on Race and the Economy. Isn't this something? I've never seen this article in my life. I just found it today. Isn't that something? I'm like, this is crazy. We have to be culturally conscious in our investments. Look, this is 2018. They were warning me. As the cost of police misconduct rise, cities and counties across the United States are going into debt to pay for it. Often this debt is in the form of bond borrowing. When cities and counties use bonds to pay these costs, banks and other firms collect fees for the services they provide, and the investor collects interest. The use of bonds to pay for settlements and judgments greatly increases the burden of policing costs on taxpayers, while producing a profit for banks and investors. Using bonds to pay for settlements or judgments can nearly double the cost of the original settlement. Now you think about your family member, think about it. If somebody gets shot, and then you go and you paying your city taxes and stuff like that, and they gave you this little bit of money, because they're not going to give you enough, and you're going to accept the offer, and you ain't even never talked to JB Bryan about it. I see it happen all the time. Like, people, they go to their lawyer, they accept whatever the lawyer says, they get bamboozled completely. You're talking about these people, and then they sit there and they talk to their lawyer. Lawyers know law. I know what I do. How many financial advisors do people actually include in financial decisions? Zero. So you all up on TV talking about money with nobody in the room that deals with money all day. That's ridiculous. I don't understand. No matter what it is that happens to us, we always say, I better call a lawyer. Anything. We win the lottery. Better call a lawyer. What in the world does the lawyer have to do with that? I don't understand it. Anything can happen. Mr. Robinson, anything. So you in here, they killed them family member, and you are paying them back for paying you off, because you're the one paying taxes, because you don't know anything about money. You ain't investing it. You're not making any of the interest off the bonds. Like, you're not benefiting. You know what I mean? Anyway, you just got that short money. The short money. The short money. That's the part that frightens me the most. That any type of settlement to tell you to go in front of the TV station and tell everybody to be calm over the most horrific stuff we've ever seen, because you might get a little bit of money, is sick. We shouldn't even accept the money. We shouldn't even accept the money. It is disgraceful. It's inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? No, you have robbed us too long. We should make some sort of movement that we say to them that no, we don't want the money. You know what I'm saying? We don't want it. We got to figure out another way. We want opportunity. You know, I want every member of my family to, own, a block of this, city for the next 50 years. We got to get some long money. We got to do something different. Because we're taking it and it's not paying off, and they're getting paid. You know what I mean? Everybody's benefiting except for our community. It's getting robbed of leaders, getting robbed of time, getting robbed of hope, inspiration. Look at this. These are these bonds. Thesis statement tonight. Taxpayers are paying for police brutality, and people are making money off of it. Right in here. Look at this is Chicago from 2010 to 2017. $709 million estimated for police brutality. Police brutality was paid $709 million. Look, but this is a trip. $1 billion and interest was made on it. $1 billion of interest was paid on that, with a total cost to taxpayers almost $2 billion is all that had to be paid back to that city. And they don't even know it. They're going around just killing black kids. And then they go to the family, probably put 200 over here, 200 over here, 200. I mean, $709 million. And they just giving a little bit of money. What was that movie I was watching? And this brother was in jail. And, they had paid out, and he didn't do the crime. And they had paid out the girl because she said that she was raped in the school. And he had not raped her in the school. So she would not confess that he didn't do it because she had got the money and she was scared that they were going to take the money back. Sick. The Los Angeles, $71 million, 81 million in interest. 18 million in interest. But look at this. How is the interest paid to investors $1 billion when, that's like, seriously, there's something, Chicago, y'all need to look at that. And look, and this interest, it said it does not include interest costs or issuance fees. This is just interest paid to the institutions mostly. Because remember, the institutions buy these up. Now, in this article, it tells you some of the major institutions right here. Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, as well as smaller regional banks and other firms. But if we approach them, they would be like, I had no idea. Because all they're thinking is they made out good because they made $1 billion in interest on that. And they would never admit that they had actually supported police brutality. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Yes, indeed. And indeed, the name, I'll give you the name of the article again. It's Police Brutality Bonds, and that is by Godwin. That's the first, you could put that into Google and it will pull it right up. Written by Action Center on Race and the Economy. But no, and I'm gonna go back before I let y'all go. I want to go back to our culturally conscious criteria. So police brutality is something if we had bonds or wanted to have municipal bonds included, we have to be, I'm just using that as just an example of, even if the corporations were buying those bonds and we find out that, we have to be aware of, we need to, at least we can write letters and acknowledge that. That you might not know this, but I really feel that we at AfroEconomics, we have a commitment to culturally conscious investing, and we like your company, but You may not know, so we want to make sure that we bring it to your attention that these municipalities have issued bonds and paid you interest, and you have benefited from police brutality. Mm. And that's why a lot of businesses are like making these contributions and doing these things, that I feel like we have to, actually think about, like, why are they doing this? And where is it going to? And we have to have an organized thought of, just giving away money has never worked for anybody. It has not worked. Like the state of Virginia closing the state down on Friday for Juneteenth. That does not accomplish anything but make the state be closed on Friday when there's a whole bunch of Black people who still, their unemployment hasn't been processed yet. That is a problem for us. So we need to, like, before people do things thinking this is what they'll like this, let's make sure that, we say, like, that's not okay for you to not talk to us about what we would prefer. We might want to honor, some other day. We might want that day. But we might want it on a Monday. We might not want it on a Friday. I mean, why do you feel like what's best for me? So companies, I want us to invest in companies that believe in a living wage, not a minimum wage. Because a minimum wage is a big contributor to the poverty that exists across the planet. But for us in the U.S., the majority, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of people who are suffering from minimum wage, from this federal minimum wage, are people that look like us. It's our community. So the minimum wage, and I got in an argument, not in an argument, but I had to defend it in a group discussion in a class that I'm taking. On a gentleman was talking about poverty in the Black community because of welfare. And I explained to him that if the minimum wage was adjusted for inflation, that even the poorest among us would be at a living wage, at least closer to a living wage, where there wouldn't be as much need for the public support. So don't just come out and judge a people or attack the Black community. He can't tell, he don't know what color I am. We were just discussing, but it was amazing to me that how many people believed in what he was saying. And because he decided he didn't want to see the true reason of poverty and what is behind and what is in front for people who live in poverty. And the subsidies that Wall Street and corporate America get far exceed any subsidy that's going to our neighborhoods. And then, so the living wage is important. And then I want companies that have a Black presence in all levels of management, especially in the highest level of management. And on the board of these publicly traded companies, we need a Black presence. We need to know the legal status of any lawsuits, because these companies are so big that we can have people who are suing them for discrimination, and because their pockets are so deep that you will never know it. Like how long it took the gentleman, and these were white people that DuPont was killing and giving all forms of cancer, that they dragged it out for over 20 years. They were refusing to make settlements for these people and to take care of their families. And they were getting sick, birth defects and everything. So you can imagine what is happening to us, and we don't even know about it. As a lady said, about in her country of India, she's from Asia, Indian. And then she was explaining that, Nike has been, in her opinion, exploiting her country for over 20 years. And because of their money, the litigation, it has not been resolved on their use and unfair labor. Why should you be able to go to another country and not have to pay your own country's minimum wage? That's something to think about. And maybe they wouldn't be so quick to go and take jobs over to another country if they had to pay minimum wage, at least minimum wage, or the living wage, preferably, everywhere you go. And then a final thought is to invest in placing businesses. We want companies that have placed their locations in heavily Black populated communities so that we can have jobs, so that we can take care of our families, so that our kids, can be excited about the future and see hope and see places like, wow, I can have a business like that. I can work like that. I can get, I can get weeks off. I can get benefits like that. Or I can, that we can just have in our community enterprise and examples of enterprise. And we can have, not to even mention to have businesses that make a commitment to do business with Black business. That's almost invisible. Municipalities don't even have to do business with us. They can raise money and make money off of police brutality, but they cannot put in a clause that says we have to do business with Black people because that's wrong. It says, culturally conscious, because the word wrong or that's not right or we got to do this or we got to do that, like that's not our guideline. You have to dare to develop your own guideline, your own standards, your own rule books. We have to do that. Because I'm going to tell you, every other culture that is sustainable, they got rules. That's why they're here. That's why they're successful. That's why they're standing. And if we want to stand up and get people off our neck, then we got to have standards. You know what I'm saying? We got to have standards. So culturally conscious investing, I'm going to continue to push that and include that and research and think and find out as much information as I can that will empower us. Ms. Witherspoon, oh yes, wage slavery. He said the old chattel slavery was replaced with wage slavery. Indeed. DuPont, the name of the game is to appeal until you die. Exactly. It's so sad. And they did that. That man started bringing them people in one case at a time until they finally settled. But you're talking about commitment. That's the kind of commitment that we have to our success. Like they tried to make him accept the short money, Ms. Hayes. And that lawyer said no. He said, I want to make sure that they have long money. I want to make sure that if they get sick 10 years from now or 20 years from now, that these people are covered. He almost lost everything he had because he said, I'm going to focus on the long term. And that's what we have to do. And that's how my life is so challenging. And how many times people have told me, oh, why don't you just go work for them? Why don't you go do that? Why don't you go so-and-so? And I said, I have to do this. You don't know how many times I've been told that Black is not in. Why don't you focus on women? Because there's money for women. I've had Black organizations tell me, well, we don't really do our Black thing anymore because they give us money to do things for women. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm Black and I happen to be a woman. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. But my Black comes first. Because I'm all things that God made me. And I got to look out for the Black man and the Black woman and the Black child and the white person. I got to look out for the white person too. I got to let them know that if you allow us to be all that we can be, your life will be so much better. I know it. I got some serious white people that I love with every part of my body. And I know that by me being all that I can be, I make their world better. I know that. I know that AfroEconomics, that our success makes this world better for everyone. We're just loving people like that. We are such loving. If we can be like this and we've been treated like this, imagine if we make a commitment to fairness and love And we say we gonna set up our criteria and how we gonna be treated, and Black confidence gets better because we don't get confident, we don't get ugly. We take everybody with us because we don't like we just don't discriminate by nature. We just don't. So I figure I gotta do this for us because I gotta help everybody. And everybody gets better when we're at our best. Because we started civilization. We are the beginning. We are the beginning. And we have to make this world a better place. God don't make no mistakes. He don't make any mistakes. So we gotta do this. We gotta do better. Mm, 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 mm. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your time tonight. Thank you. We got this. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And then I'll see you Sunday morning. Is today's Black man. We are all about him on Sunday morning. We're going to have us a great time appreciating the men of AfroEconomics. They have been so important to me. I'm telling you. Yes. The stories, the blessings that I have. That is, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Friday morning, yes. And Mr. Robinson, thank you for your email. I haven't been able to thoroughly look through it, but Mr. Robinson sent us some stuff. That's Mr. Gary Robinson. And not to be confused with my sweetie, Michael, but my cousin Robinson. To you, thank you for the information. And that we are going to look at that. He has some information he wants to share with everybody on Friday. So that's going to be good. Those are actually PDFs, Angela. Make sure when we talk next week that I will give you the PDFs. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, he might be your cousin. That would make me your cousin almost. Oh, I'm so glad. Nita, your first webinar. You are in now. You are in. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, what a great night. I feel empowered. You found it. Yes, indeed. It's GODE. I'm glad you found it. And Mickey, I think this might have been the first time I've seen your name in here. You may have been in here though. Miss Cheeks, it's good to see you too. Yeah, we got the movie star Mickey Spencer up in here. It's great to have celebrities. We're doing the right thing when we get celebrities up here. How you doing, Mr. and Mrs. Joe? I love y'all. That's it.